Okay guys, so today I am going to be showing you how to install N8N on a DigitalOcean Droplet. And now you'll have to forgive me because this tutorial may be a little bit rough because I have actually never installed N8N. I have a ton of experience with DigitalOcean and running production web applications, but not a lot of experience with N8N, and I've always wanted to explore it. So just keep in mind, I've never done this. This may be rough, but I've looked at the instructions here, and honestly, it should be very, very simple, especially if I can just use one of the Docker image on the marketplace. Now, the first thing I am going to do here, I am logged in already to one of my DigitalOcean accounts, and I'm just going to click Create. Then I'm going to click on Droplets, and I'm just going to put this in SFO2 because that's where the majority of my stuff, at least in this account, is currently located. Now let's go here. Now let's go to the marketplace here and select an image. I am going to just start searching for N8N, and there it is. So that looks good on Ubuntu 24.04. That should be perfectly fine. I am actually going to try to go with the cheapest and see how this works. I think this should be fine because I was looking at the N8N requirements and they do not seem, they're not super specific obviously, but it says literally that it doesn't require a lot of resources. So we'll just start with the smallest that we can install it on and go from there. We can always resize it if we need to. I'm not gonna add any additional storage. I don't need that. Backups, I always do backups. I am going to select weekly backups. I don't know if I need daily at this point. And then for the SSH key, I actually don't think it matters. I don't think it'll be able to put my SSH key into this DigitalOcean, but I will select one of the SSH keys that I have available in my account. Okay, and yes, we will add improved metrics and monitoring. That should be fine. For the host name, I am just going to call it N8N. The project is already defined, and I do not have any tags, at least in this account, that I need to add it to. As you can see, apparently this is gonna cost us $7.20 a month, but the advantage of putting it in the cloud is that we can easily access it from anywhere, and as long as we turn on the web application firewall and kind of keep in mind the security and the security concerns of what we're doing, everything should be fine. So now I am just going to go to click Create Droplet, and we're going to let this cook for a little bit while I actually go back to the docs and read a little bit. Okay, so the first thing it wants me to do according to the instructions of the marketplace application is it wants me to set up a DNS record, which makes complete sense. But the actual first thing I want to do is actually make sure that I can connect successfully using SSH to the Droplet. Now I may have been wrong about it actually being able to inject my SSH key into the image. So yeah, let me use SSH to attempt to connect to this Droplet. The first thing I am going to do is copy this IP address in here. I will probably rotate that IP address later, but yeah, let me kind of get this set up to where I can connect to this. And yeah, I was actually right. I was not able to log into this using that SSH key. I've never successfully been able to have DigitalOcean inject an existing SSH key into a already configured and set up image. So I'm not sure if they just expect people to realize that or what, but it's fine. We can get around this by actually accessing the Droplet directly using the console. Yeah, to do that, we're gonna click on Access, and then actually, it should be interesting. I don't believe we'll be able to use the Droplet console here because I don't know if there's a password set up for the root. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, and so it looks like we should follow the instructions here and set up a domain for this. I need to find a domain that I actually have access to. So let me set that up. Okay, yes, and I have decided what I'm probably going to do is just continue this tutorial by adding this to a subdomain of notifier.so, and then I'll probably kill this off and redo the setup on a different domain that I actually want to run it on. But, and real quickly, if you're not familiar with notifier.so, it is a platform for using social media in order to do things like find your next customer, protect your brand reputation, and monitor your competition. So definitely check it out if you have a product you are building OpenPhone, if you're not familiar with OpenPhone, they are actually big fans of Notifier, and they used it as one of the tools in their toolbox to get their first 1,000 customers. You can take a look at the fantastic article by Dariana Kulia of OpenPhone about how they did that on our landing page. They actually just recently rebranded themselves as Quo and raised $105 million in growth financing. So yes, definitely check out Notifier. But what I am going to do for this is we are going to add it on the subdomain N8N.notifier.so. And as you will see, we are adding an A record here that directly points to the IP address that we were just given by DigitalOcean. So I am going to quickly save this, and that has added it to the DNS records. Okay, and so the next thing we are going to do, we need to go back to the console access that we had. Let me pull that back up. It is connecting to the Droplet. It is connected. Okay, perfect. So now we need to specify the subdomain that we actually just put in. So we're going to type in N8N dot, I believe, yeah, notifier.so. This should be correct. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm just going to hit enter. Now we're going to put the domain name in here, the root domain name, which is notifier.so. Okay, hold on. And actually, I think I actually did this wrong. So let me disconnect from that. Hopefully yes. Okay, perfect. All it wants actually is the subdomain for the initial, and then it wants the full domain name. Okay, email address for Let's Encrypt. This is for the Let's Encrypt for their certbot application whenever they ask you for an email. So what I'm just going to put in here is just, actually I'm going to put support at notifier.so. That is a valid email. Would you like to configure a time zone? Well, yes, but I don't know what the actual time zone would be. Let's just say yes. Maybe they'll give me a drop down. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, so we're going to do 2 for Americas. And then I am actually in Orange County. Why can't I see this? I must be blind. Oh, 49, United States, okay. And I am in Orange County, which is near LA, so we're just gonna select 21, I believe. Well, is that actually, is that Pacific? Yeah, that should be it. So I'm gonna hit 21. The following information has been given, United States, Pacific, therefore time zone. Yeah, perfect, America, Los Angeles. Okay, 1, yes. Okay, it is doing some magic here. Okay, and it says installation complete. Access your new N8N server in a browser to continue. I mean, I wonder what the default password situation is going to be here. Should be interesting. Okay, wow. So they must have set up the certificate and everything. But how do I? Oh, okay. And one thing I'm going to do really quickly, actually, because I don't want anyone having access to this except for me. And I do not want to expose actually my public IP address right now for the location that I'm at. But what I'm going to do is set it up to where only I, from my IP address, can access this this N8N instance. I believe I can go to networking and at least show you that. Okay, yeah, so there's no firewalls applied to this droplet. I'm going to do edit, and I'm going to create a firewall. I'm going to say no, I probably already have one like this, no IP, but home. And then what I am actually going to do is delete this rule. And then I'm going to set up a new rule, all TCP, and I don't want that. And what I'm actually going to do in here is just input my IP address and put it in here. I'm not going to show you guys this because I don't want to expose my public IP address. That's harder to change. Let me do that now. Okay, I did do that. And now what I need to do is actually add this droplet. What the heck did I call it? N8N? There it is. Okay, perfect. So we're going to add that droplet. And now that firewall should be being applied. It should now be being applied to where no inbound traffic except for my home IP address should be able to use that. And now let's go back to this. I just want to refresh this. I'm going to delete this droplet in the end. But as far as the email, what I'm actually going to use is support@notifier.so, first name, Timothy Bramlett. Okay, and then for the password, I'm just going to put something in here. Okay. I want to receive security and product updates. Not really. I get too many emails as it is, so we're going to click next. Okay, what best describes your company? Okay, which, yeah. Myself. How big is your company? We are less than 20, about a team of 15 right now, but really the others are not going to be using this. God knows at this point how I heard about this. We'll just say friend, word of mouth. I'm going to click get started. Okay, and it looks like we need to enter our email in order to get a license key. That is fine. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to use this email actually. Send a free license key, then head over to usage and plan to activate your license. I'm going to go there now. Now I am in another window going to get my license key. And interesting, I haven't received the email yet. You guys can't see this obviously, but let me check my spam folder. There we go. Okay, and it has my license key in here. I am just going to copy that. Let's unlock. Where did this? Skip. Here we go. Okay, and what I'm going to do actually is pause the video, enter that activation key, and then we should be good to go. Okay, so now we have the license activated, so I think we should be good to go. Now I've never used N8N, but we can play around in here and see what damage we can do. We'll start with triggering something manually. But what do we actually want to trigger here? I wonder if there's some concept of like printing to the console. Okay, here we go. Here's the core of the library. We can make an HTTP request. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Returns the response data, perfect. Okay, we're gonna use a GET request. The URL we are going to use actually, let's do HTTPS. Let's not do notifier.so, let's do stammer.ai. That's another product of ours. If you're not familiar with Stammer AI, it is the world's most popular platform for white labeling AI services and offering them to your customers. We have a lot of agency customers. That is our primary product and basically my day job at this point. We're not going to use any authentication. We're not going to send any query parameters. We're not going to send any headers. This is just going to be a very, very basic HTTP request. Move that. Yeah, that looks good to me. I mean, we're just going to basically just execute this. So let's do execute step. Yes, let's show the data. Okay, perfect. That does look like the Stammer homepage. A lot of data in there. Okay, so that does appear to have worked. How do I save this? Maybe it doesn't have that concept. Maybe it's already saved. Well, this is confusing. Okay, back to Canvas. I assume it saved it. Okay, perfect. So that's ready to go. Now, how do I, let's see here. Do I need to save this? Oh, okay, it has no trigger. Well, it does have execute workflow. Okay, perfect. Well, obviously this is a very basic N8N workflow, obviously, but I think you guys get the idea. So this completes this tutorial on how to install N8N on DigitalOcean. Just use the Marketplace app. Super, super simple to get started, but this is it. Hopefully this may have helped some of you guys get this installed on DigitalOcean. I am going to try to be making a lot more tutorials using N8N and stuff like that because I'm really fascinated with a lot of the AI stuff that people are doing with it.